Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing. Hold on, let me turn this. Is that a little louder?
Oh, yes.
Is that better?
I think so.
Am I? Oh, how's that?
That's better than
Can you hear
what
me?
you just did. Better than before.
Is that good?
Sounds good to me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
we'll see.
Let's do a show.
Let's see.
Hello, Madeline.
We're back.
We are back. Took, well, we didn't take last week off. We have some cool stuff happening.
We've got a lot working in the background.
That's what we call a tease in the biz, folks.
Ooh.
But we are back this week.
Yes.
With, we're going to do another deep dive episode.
Yeah.
If you were here with us for the athlete wedding floral situation.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll like our Dallas Cowboys Netflix show deep dive collection of thoughts.
Yeah, and if you don't like either of those topics, we will be back next week with business as usual, normal episode.
Yes.
So
next week we will have our normal assortment of nonsense happening in the sports world.
Because I don't know if you saw this, but we got a lot of DMs about some athlete engagements and weddings that happened over the past few weeks. So I may need to bring them up when we do that. You'll just see.
I don't even know. Madeline has the keys to the social media. So sometimes she's like, we got this message. And then she'll be like, did you see this? And I'm like, I'm 1,000 years old.
No.
Anyways,
Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders.
I am so thrilled to be talking about this.
Season 2 just dropped recently on Netflix of a docuseries that follows the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, the cheerleaders for the NFL team, the Dallas Cowboys, for those who don't know. It is wild. So much to unpack.
So much to unpack. So this is the kind of thing that I feel like our show was created for.
Yes.
Like, obviously, we keep track of all of the gossip and everything going on. But, like, when the Aaron Rodgers... Basically, Netflix is just feeding us content to take apart.
Yes.
Not saying we don't like it. We love it.
We love it.
The Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders doc is an probably my favorite show.
Oh, it's
I
so
can't
good.
get enough.
I binge watched that show like nobody's business.
Yeah.
I was like, another one, thank you. Another one, thank you.
Same. I went to bed so late because of this show.
Yes, I know.
It would be 2 a.m. and my husband and I would be like, "Oh my god, we have to go to sleep." But if I don't find out what happens to Dayton, I'm gonna
exactly. You gotta know
my mind.
I know.
But so what I love about this is that it's the sports world, but it really is sports adjacent.
Yeah.
It's the trappings of sports, the pomp and circumstance, and the Cowboys are the most valuable franchise in sports, the biggest brand, America's team, which is really saying something because they haven't won a Super Bowl since the 90s. So
Isn't that great?
It's all about the brand.
It's all about the brand.
And this show is also all about the brand.
Yes.
And it's the kind of thing that I'm so glad we have the show to dive into.
Same.
So, with that said, should we set up the general idea for, because you can still watch, if you haven't watched the show, you should, but you can still watch this episode.
Yeah.
How does each season start off?
So each season starts with rounds of auditions. The auditions start online. Hundreds of women submit tapes. I think they maybe answer questions in an online application. And then they are selected for an in-person round of auditions where they each have to do, I believe it's a 1.5 minute solo performance in front of a panel of judges, which we will get to that panel of judges in a little bit. And then from there, if they are selected out of that, then they are then entered into training camp. But no, you didn't make it yet. You still got to land your spot from training camp because people do get cut.
There are 36 spots, I believe, and I think they take 50 or 60 to training camp.
Some maybe a little bit less than that. I feel like it was
40
something.
50. I think 50.
I think like
55.
It was something like that.
Whatever.
Who cares?
You get the idea. They have to cut a lot of growth. But the people who are doing these cutting, the people who are pulling the strings here, the head of the organization, the director is this woman, Kelly Finglass, who is the Dallas Cowboys class of 1984, I believe.
Yeah.
And the head choreographer, Judy Trammell, who is class of 81, I believe. And I think since the early 90s, Kelly's been the director. Judy's been the head choreographer. These two women rule the roost. But the real woman who rules the roost is Charlotte Jones, who is the daughter of Jerry Jones, who is the owner of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And to understand the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, you do have to understand the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones is often referred to as like the shadow commissioner of the NFL because the Cowboys are so valuable and he is such a strong voice in the room that Roger Goodell, the commissioner, people are like, well, he just sort of does what Jerry Jones says. Like the amount of power in Dallas, Texas when it comes to the National Football League cannot be overstated.
Yeah, no. They run the ship of the NFL and the business behind professional football in America. And also the thing to note here is that the Cowboys organization is run by the family.
Yes.
Like his kids, I think cousins, like they're all involved in the organization, which I think also plays into like just kind of how they operate.
Yes.
And why they make certain decisions.
It is a family business. And also, I think the Dallas Cowboys, you know, kind of like the Showtime Lakers in the 70s and 80s were the first to really put the NBA dancers to the point where every other NBA team has dancers. At Dallas Cowboys, those cheerleaders are the iconic cheerleaders. And a lot of the processes that they've been using, that they still use today, they have been using since the 70s or 80s.
Yeah, I mean, and a main one that they talk about, which we will get into, is about the pay, that historically the cheerleaders have not been paid very much, or if any at all, I think really in the beginning. And it was all about, it's a privilege to have this job. You are representing not only the Cowboys, but you're kind of representing America. Like that's sort of how they position it.
1000%. You are the ideal woman in this scenario. And the reason they can do this is because it is such a prestigious brand, but also because there are so few opportunities for dancers after college.
Yes.
Like a lot of the women who come through now where the world of college dance has been so professionalized. I actually, when I was doing this college football show going on the road, I trained with the LSU Tiger Girls.
Oh my God.
So there are girls in the show, like Ariel, who makes it. She taught me a dance.
Stop.
No.
She did not.
Yes.
Wait, like literally?
Yes. There's a video of me dancing with the Tiger Girls.
Oh my God. You're going to have to find that. We can insert it.
I will. It was true. It was one of my favorite things that I did in that where I was going and exploring the culture of fandom around college football, because these women are athletes as much as the football players.
Yeah.
Their schedules are grueling. They aren't paid the way football players are. They don't have the perks football players get, but every game day is a game day for them in a way that the Dallas Cowboys, like, yes, every NFL team has cheerleaders now, but the Cowboys are it.
And they set the standard.
Yes.
Like they are the standard for everyone else.
Yes. And now that there's a Netflix show.
Yeah.
They are even more famous, and we will get into that as well. But let's talk about the audition process, because the panel of judges, as you tease, because Kelly and Judy oversee this, but then they have maybe like 15 other people in the audition room. Also, thousands of girls apply to this process, and they pick maybe 70 to do a solo dance.
Yes, I think it's about that. So it's Kelly and Judy sitting next to each other. And then, of course, Charlotte Jones is in the first row. But then they start introducing the panel of judges. And when I say I was shocked, I was like, what? They had a meteorologist? I was like, okay, what experience does he have with dance? Is he a former dancer? Is he just representing kind of like someone who's on television, so they want women who can present themselves, because they also are required to do a lot of appearances.
Yes.
So part of your job is not just dancing, it's meeting with fans, it's being on TV. They've been on the Tonight Show. They were performing at a Casey Musgraves concert. Like they are out there beyond just the game and on the field. So maybe that's that reason.
Yeah. I also think he could just be like a friend of Kelly's.
Well, that also feels like,
you know what I mean?
Like they had like the guy who owns the hair salon.
He's my favorite judge. He's my favorite judge. Him, and then there's a guy on the panel of judges. You know what I'm going to say?
I know
what am I going to say?
The boot guy. The boot guy.
The guy head of Lucchese Boots, who make cowboy boots that make custom boots for every cheerleader.
Yes, which also I want those boots for the record.
Unbelievable.
Lucchese, if you're listening.
But dancing in those?
Oh, I can't imagine.
Their feet are all torn up.
Oh.
It's crazy.
No thanks.
Also, there's this a friend of mine who's very cool, JC Scott. She is the head of the Vikings cheerleaders program. She was a Rockette.
Wait.
She's really, really lovely. And so when I saw her on the panel of judges, I was like, okay, I feel good knowing that there are, people who are on the girls' side, if that makes sense, who have been in their position as a dancer. But yeah, the way, also something just in general.
What?
About this show. The candid things that they capture these people saying.
Oh my God.
These are people, I'm used to reality. This is obviously a docuseries, which is different from a reality show.
Yeah.
But I'm still used to people being so aware of cameras now that they censor themselves. What makes this show so good is that Kelly and Judy do not censor themselves for better or for worse.
No, they don't.
Charlotte Jones, you hear them talking about these girls as they're dancing, being like, nah, a little dull.
Yeah.
Not that much pizzazz. Like, you are hearing what they would say to each other, whether there were cameras there or not.
Yeah, for sure. It does not feel like they're censoring themselves at all.
No.
Which I appreciate.
Same.
It doesn't feel like they're sugarcoating anything just because the cameras are there. Especially after they perform all the solos, they go into a boardroom to vote, and their voting process is raising their hands. And then also these stickers that come into play later. They like put a sticker after, I think it's like maybe each day of training camp or whatever, like a yes, and you have to get a certain number of stickers to make the team, whatever. But when they're going around the room discussing some of these girls, it reminds me of being in a sorority when we were going through Rush. That's what I could compare it to. Was you would basically, it was like they were saying things essentially like, I don't like her haircut. Basically, like there were points and you're like, what? What does that have to do with her dancing?
Totally.
Like, what?
And unfortunately, what it has to do with their dancing is that this is a job that is as much about your athletic talent as it is what you look like.
Oh yeah.
And on the one hand, I appreciate how upfront they are about that.
Yeah.
They're like, this is a job where you have to become an amoeba.
Right.
Like, yes, you are an individual, but those individuals, you got to have brown hair, curly hair, blonde hair, red hair.
No redheads.
Yeah.
Well, one.
Two. They made Abby a redhead.
Okay, we'll get to that. I have a theory about that.
Okay. But all of it is to say that these individuals make up the whole.
Yeah.
In a way that you have to look a certain way. And I found myself, what's so interesting about the show is you follow these people around. I found myself like rooting for them so hard, and also still being troubled by the things they were doing to contort themselves to meet this standard of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, which is impossibly thin a lot of the time, which is its own issue.
Yeah.
And look a certain way and do your makeup a certain way and all of this where it's like, I wanted them to make the team and I wanted them to succeed. But sometimes if a girl didn't make the team and she was clearly a sensitive person, I would be like, I think this is better for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, because it's cutthroat. And then once you're in it, it's like every day, mind you, at practice, at training camp, they have makeup on every single day. And they will call you out if you don't have makeup on. I remember, I think it was Madeline. What was her name? She was blonde. I can't remember her name. Mm-hmm. And one of the girls came to practice without makeup on. And Kelly made a comment offhanded, just like kind of about the fact she wasn't wearing makeup, I'm pretty sure. I think it was maybe in season 1.
I think so.
And so it's like, you have to be on all the time. And that takes a toll.
It's a big toll. It's also a performance of femininity in a way that the Dallas Cowboys have decided it means to be a woman.
Yes. And what it means to look like a woman and dress, talk, everything.
And it's so interesting, the contrast between seeing these women when they're not at practice and seeing them in their home or hearing them talk in their confessionals. And a lot of them are spunky. A lot of them aren't from Texas. So it's not even like the Texas culture. Like, they are from elsewhere making themselves fit in as a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. But a lot of them are not docile in the way that a Cowboys cheerleader is supposed to assume on the field. Or not docile, but like unquestioning.
Right.
But then they put their makeup on and they go out and do their dance, and they are no longer an individual. They are a part of this group.
No, yeah. And you have to fit the mold.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you're out.
Right.
Which, speaking of getting eliminated, so they do the cut. And how they do the cut is they put them all in like a practice stadium. They're not in the main So what is it called? The big arena with that giant TV screen.
The Star,
whatever it's called.
Yeah, it's a practice facility.
It's the Ford Stadium or something like that. I think. Yes, is what it's called. Can't believe I even.
Oh my God! Good job.
Locked in.
Yeah,
locked
seriously.
in DCC. So they're all sitting in the seats of the stadium. And then Kelly is down on the field with Judy and Charlotte with a microphone. And they are just reading people's names off of who makes it to training camp, which I thought was so crazy. Because throughout the show, they will give feedback on the microphone amplified at the stadium instead of just like going up to the girl. It's not like there's like 500 women down there.
No, they'll be like, Maddie, your kicks look like wet noodles.
But it'll be like echoed like, Maddie, your kicks look like wet noodles. Like in the, could you imagine?
And then they zoom in the show. You see the girl's face as she's getting this feedback. And in this case, Maddie was 18.
Yes.
She's a girl.
Crazy.
And she was like, okay.
And they all go, yes, ma'am.
You have to say yes,
You have to say yes, ma'am.
And it was pretty funny because one of them, who was not from Texas, was like, where I'm from, I think it was Abby, who's from Ohio. She was like, where I'm from, yes, ma'am, is like rude because you're saying someone's old.
Right.
But here, I have to say it.
Yeah.
The regional differences, too.
So good.
But the fascinating thing, and the thing that creates a lot of tension, is that you have veterans who come back year after year, but they have to try out for their spot.
Oh, yeah.
Their spot is not guaranteed because you also have a crop of rookies, what they call them, the first-year girls trying to make the team, where a veteran could get cut and replaced with a rookie.
Yeah.
It's a rare success story, I think, that they make it to like 4 or 5 year veterans who then assume a leadership role, which also seems absolutely exhausting.
Exhausting.
So then they go to training camp.
So I think they send, like I said, like maybe 45 or so to training camp. And they're divided between the veterans wear their blue sports bras that say Cowboys or whatever on them. And then the rookies wear red ones. So it's like it's very obvious who is new and who's a vet from the get-go.
Visually.
Yeah, visually.
Can I say something about the rookie outfits?
Please.
I hate them. I find that color of pinkish red so deeply offensive. When they finally choose the full team and everybody's just wearing the blue, it was like visually, I was so relieved. I was exhausted watching the red suits.
Thank God. I know.
I wish those were a different color.
Maybe that's why Charlie wasn't picked. The redhead. There was a redhead the first, and she wasn't picked because she was wearing that red. And they're like, doesn't look good.
Speaking of Charlie and Kelly.
Yes, go.
Okay, so season 1, you see that you follow the story of Reese, Charlie, and Kelly. Reese makes the team her first year. Charlie and Kelly, the three of them have become very close. They do not. No. Charlie and Kelly, we then find out in season 2, moved to Dallas, Texas for a year to train to audition the next year.
And there is no guarantee that they were making that team.
It's not clear fully to me where they're living at that time. It's not clear what they're doing for work, if anything. I think a lot of the women who are able to make it farther and devote more time do come from families who can support them. I'm not saying they're wealthy because Kelly is not, but I think her family sacrificed a lot for her to be doing what she's doing.
Yeah. They were like, this is her dream since she was little.
Yeah.
They're like, I think they would do anything to help her get on that team.
And most of the people, well, a lot of them, it has been their dream since they were little.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so Charlie the redhead.
So Charlie the redhead. Okay, so there was a redhead on the team, but she didn't come back. I can't remember her name.
Oh, yeah.
There was a redhead.
Okay.
But Charlie comes around. My theory the first season, because when they told her she was cut the first season, Kelly really didn't give a reason.
For Charlie?
Yeah. If you remember. From what I remember, she didn't really have a reason other than like, your dancing's amazing, but just it's not this year. My theory is they were like, we can't have two redheads.
Oh, my God. No.
Yes.
No, they said to Charlie, they said you're too cautious. Like your confidence isn't fully there yet.
I think that wasn't.
So you think this was redhead prejudice? Are you saying this because you're a redhead?
No, but I do just feel like the image of the Cowboys, like a redhead
isn't. You can't have two gingers.
You can't have two gingers. I'm a ginger. Trust me, I would love more than one ginger on the team. However, it did feel like the reason was maybe because she had red hair. I actually can't really argue with that because if you go back and watch it, the feedback is like kind of bullshit of why they're cutting her. I think it's that they were just like, we don't want two redheads. We just don't want it this season. Sorry.
I think you might be right because...
But they can't say that, obviously.
No, you can't say that. Also, though, in season 2, this Abby, who we talked about, tries out and she makes the team. I also thought she was just an amazing dancer.
Yeah.
It's also funny how you assume the role of a judge where I'm watching these women who are all dancing at a level that I could only dream of witnessing, let alone doing. But you're like, yeah, she just doesn't have it. Like, you turn into someone who is evaluating and objectifying and being like, Dayton, I don't know. I see it. Like, she's doing everything right. She just doesn't have the star power.
You know what it reminds me of? When we went to the Miss Maine pageant and we were just judging the girls at the beauty pageant, being like, she just doesn't have it.
I was going to say.
It was like that.
Madeline,
I was locked in.
When we went to the Miss Maine pageant where Bill Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, was competing, we could see the stage presence that someone has. And they were just walking.
Yeah.
They were walking in swimsuits and then they were walking in evening gowns. But at the time on the show, we talked about the pageant world and the cheerleading world having such a close connection to each other. And I saw that in these, it's almost like the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders are both cheerleaders and appearing in a pageant every Sunday.
They're appearing in a pageant every single time they're at practice.
Yes.
I mean, that's really what it feels like. They are always performing and looking their best and presenting themselves in the best way they possibly can. And I do agree, when there were times outside of Charlie where she would give feedback of just kind of like, you don't have it.
Yeah.
I get it. It's like, sometimes they're just you just don't have it. And it's about vibes. It's a vibe. It's a vibe thing.
We say this about sports teams, and we're now saying about the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Sometimes it is just based on vibes and there's not something specific you can point to.
Yeah.
But back to Abby real quick.
Yes.
So this gets us to the makeover situation, because if you make it to a certain point in training camp, not that you've made the team. No. You could still get cut.
Oh, yeah. And people do get cut.
After this.
Yes.
But Kelly and Judy take everyone to a salon where they change their look.
It's like America's Next Top Model.
Truly.
When they do the
Except
makeover.
it's Texas.
Yes.
They take them and they change their hair to be what they want to see from the, like, as a part of the amoeba, and how it will flow with everybody else.
And oftentimes what that hairstyle ends up being is very voluminous.
Yeah.
Voluminous. Long hair. There's one girl with short hair, the blonde girl, Anna Kate. She has a bob. But almost everyone else has long hair because they're doing a lot of like hair whip motions.
Hairography, they call it.
Yes.
The guy who owns a salon, who's also a judge, whose name I can't remember, but whom we
love him.
Whom we love. But also this is where, so Abby hasn't made the team yet, and she starts crying because they're like, we're going to make you a redhead.
Yeah.
Sorry. But also the red that they make her hair is brown.
It's not red.
So I think you're right that there's only one true redhead slot per team, but they need to pretend that there's a little more, so they give some like a maroon tint.
Yes. Because I actually think, sorry to go back to Charlie, because I'm fascinated. I kind of feel like Charlie and Kelly, actually, when they got cut in season 1, I feel like there's this unspoken thing of like, try out again next year because you're going to make the team.
Yes.
Vibe. Without them saying, I mean, there were some girls who had tried out before, but it was like not the next year. It was like, oh, I tried out 2018, then I tried out in 2024 or something like that. But like, I'm sure there's something they don't include where it's kind of like, come back next year.
Yes.
Because I just don't feel like they would commit to moving to Dallas if they weren't pretty confident they were making the team.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I fully agree. I think that's right. I also think that the makeover session is a place where you see race come into play most clearly, because there's a Black woman stylist who talks about how until I think 2020, they didn't have anyone who specialized in Black hair.
Yep.
Which is wild because there have been Black women on the team since the team started. There's a storyline of this woman, Armani, on the team. I think she's a 4th or 5th year veteran who has alopecia. And so this woman at the salon helps her, creates a wig for her. Yeah. She creates a wig for that woman, Ariel, from LSU, who we mentioned. And so there are certain kind of real issues that are touched on through the world of cheerleading, but not necessarily explicitly said in the show.
No. But then there were things that were explicitly said. They just didn't spend a ton of time digging into it, which were interesting. Like, there was one girl during a game in season 1 who, trigger warning, was accusing this man of touching her inappropriately, like a photographer during a game. That came up as a storyline that they addressed, but didn't really spend too much time talking about. And then there was an instance of another girl named Shandi who accused an ex-boyfriend of stalking her. So there were these kind of like more intense topics that came up, but it was always in the context of like, how does this impact my role on the Dallas Cowboys cheerleading squad? And will I have to take time off? You know, and not that they were dismissing it, but it was always in the context of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. If that makes sense.
Such a great point, because that's also how they address eating disorders.
Yes.
Because a lot of these women are saying it without saying it, because the when you get fitted for your uniform, which also happens before you make the team.
Yeah.
The teases that they do to these women, and everybody throughout the show, all of the girls who are on the team talk about this as like a mental marathon, almost more than it is physical, even though there is choreography that's so punishing that multiple women who have been on the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders for years have to get hip surgery because they do a jump split where you land from a jump in a split.
Which, by the way, I can't imagine the Cowboys are paying for PT or any outstanding medical expenses, I would gather.
No. Speaking of not paying for stuff, let's talk about the kind of major season 1, season 2 arc that carries over the whole thing. Because as you said, a lot of the issues, like Sophie accusing that photographer, we don't really see much of Sophie in season 2.
No.
We don't know what happened to her, how she's feeling. Shandi, who accuses her boyfriend of being abusive.
Yeah.
We only see that in season 2. We didn't really meet her in season 1.
No.
But the thing that we see across the whole experience is the fact that these women are not paid very much.
No.
And I looked into what the pay was. I think when season 1 and season 2 start, they were paying women $15 an hour plus $100 times the number of years you've been on the team per appearance.
Yeah.
And an overarching theme is that a lot of these women work 3 to 4 jobs to pay for their lifestyle.
Yeah.
And be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. And by lifestyle, I mean an apartment and food.
Yeah. Yeah. They get free stuff from the sponsors. I don't think they're getting any reimbursement for like hair and makeup products. Like they have to pay for all of that out of their pocket. So they're doing it for free is basically what it is. Or they're going into the red.
And I think in season 2, Kelly, the director, talks about making these services available to them for free so that they're at least not paying for that. But it's not clear how much of that or if that's a new thing in season 2.
Yeah.
So basically at the start of season 1, Charlotte Jones, Jerry Jones's daughter, the owner, the head of the Cowboys cheerleaders, who is a brilliant businesswoman from the point of view of making the cheerleaders a brand.
Oh, yeah.
Charlotte says, basically, we don't pay them because they're lucky to be here.
Yeah.
And that was shocking to see said out loud on camera.
Yeah. I cannot believe she said that in the interview.
It proves that she believes it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She doesn't see any reason these women should, which for a multi-billion-dollar company, you are fine not paying people who are the face in a lot of ways of this who are the most successful thing because your team sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
It's crazy. And it's not like they're asking for $1 million each a year, or you know what I mean? Like they're just like, as I think Jada says, I just want to be able to like cover my rent. Like just, I don't want to have to work all these other jobs to do this thing that I love.
Yeah. Shandi has 4 jobs. And it's interesting because Jada in the start of season 2 really is a fifth-year veteran. She sets out the playbook for, hey, we're going to get more money here.
Yeah.
Because she says, I think they tally up their hours and it's close to 40 hours a week between appearances, practices, and game day once you've made the team.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, we devote ourselves to this. Some women are so tired that like their bodies are coming apart. And it's interesting the difference between personalities. Shandi says, I am not comfortable fighting the way that some other women are comfortable. Because what you see in season 2, Jada, Amanda, and several other, Armani, and several other current veterans who've been there the longest, basically unionized.
Yeah. Which was amazing to watch.
Incredible.
Yeah.
They go to a lawyer. They have meetings with management.
Yeah.
They are speaking on behalf of the team. And something that I found very cool was that the team rallies around them. Even someone like Reese.
Yeah.
She's also very much presents as not confrontational. She's on board with being in the union.
I was shocked that there was not more conflict amongst the girls, especially the rookies who don't want to rock the boat. Obviously, Kelly and Judy are intense figures, and if they found out, that you're betraying them by kind of going behind their backs to talk to management, that could hurt your chances at booking appearances, which we'll get to because it certainly does.
Yes.
That it was surprising how many of the women were on board with it.
Let's talk about Amanda.
Let's talk about Amanda. So Amanda was a veteran on the team, and she was part of the group, as Charlotte mentioned, who were kind of leading the charge of this pay raise. And by the way, the pay raise was also one of their arguments was the popularity from the show, which you're kind of breaking the fourth wall there, that it's like, hey, we blew up overnight because of how much global attention we're getting from this show. And so the fact we're still getting paid the same is kind of bonkers.
Yes.
That was just one argument. I mean, there's so many other reasons why they should be getting paid more, but that certainly was something that they were discussing.
Oh, the breaking the fourth wall was one of the most fascinating aspects of season 2 to me, because like any successful Netflix show, the first season happens, and then the second season of that show becomes, without explicitly saying so, a show about how famous these people got from the show.
Yes, so true, yes.
These women got so famous. I look at pictures of the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders now, and instead of seeing that amoeba, I see the individual women. I'm like, oh, that's Jada, because you know them.
Yeah.
So Amanda claims that she's not getting booked on appearances.
The big ones, like going to the Formula One race in Austin. Yeah. I can't remember the other big one. And Kelly and Judy basically gaslight her.
Well, this is where I have some questions.
Yeah.
Because they say, not everybody gets booked on every job.
Which is true.
Which is valid. We almost don't have enough information from inside that building to know what's really going on. Because a question I have in general about the whole show, Kelly, a lot of the women on the team say we think Kelly wants us to be paid more.
Yeah.
They say we went around Kelly to management because Kelly always says, take up the fight for yourself. And Kelly and Judy don't seem mad that they have gone around them to management.
Well, up until that point.
Well, because
I feel like they in the
only
conversation
punish
with
Amanda.
Yes.
There are a lot of other women who are doing this. I think they maybe just didn't like Amanda that much to begin with. Because with Jada, they're obsessed with her, and she's very vocal about getting paid more.
But yeah, I don't know, though. I do just feel like I think they were mad. Because I think ultimately Judy and Kelly are company women. Because if you remember in season 1, Charlotte, Kelly, and Judy are standing there, and Charlotte says to them, you have to cut one more girl. We have 37. It needs to be 36. No real reason why it needs to be 36. They've had teams where they were 37 in the past, and Kelly and Judy really are like, we don't want to do this, but they kind of just push over and appease Charlotte, their boss, and say, you know what, we'll cut someone that we really didn't need to cut. If you remember, they cut that one girl who, I can't remember who it was, but they really didn't want to cut her.
Yes. And
it was basically because Charlotte said so. So that's why I feel like they were mad.
So I'm going to push back slightly.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'm correct.
Okay.
But I have a galaxy brain theory.
Okay.
That Kelly knows that these women for a long time have been taken advantage of, which is why she pushed to do the Netflix show in the first place.
Okay.
Knowing that it would be exposed how little they're making. She would finally have public opinion on the women's side. They would blow up. They could then use that fame to go to Charlotte and say, hey, this is crazy. We are so much more famous than your stupid football team that sucks. We and you're seeing all over social media, everyone's mad that you're not paying us. This is going to look really bad for you if we go a whole other season of this docuseries without you raising our pay.
Okay.
Because by the end of season 2, they get a 400% pay increase, which means they win. They get this. Yeah. I think they're making approximately $150,000 each now.
Really?
Which is not that much in the scheme of how much football players are paid.
Yeah.
But you can live on that pretty comfortably in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
So because there are these comments where it's like, Kelly thinks we should be paid more. And Kelly says, I agree. She also says, I've done everything I can to raise these women's profile. And I wonder if a part of what isn't said is that Kelly did this to have leverage over the Jones family. I don't know that I don't.
I'm with you.
Because Kelly at one point, and you kind of have to talk about politics in this situation. Like Jerry Jones is very Republican. Yeah. Kelly at one point early in season 2 is getting fitted for clothes, and she says, "I love Kamala Harris's pantsuits."
That threw me off. I was like, "What?"
And this was in 2024 during the process of the election. I also went to Kelly's social media in 2017. She and a friend dressed up as characters from The Handmaid's Tale for Halloween, which is about oppressing women.
Oh, wow. Okay,
which is typically a costume people put on when they're like, get your boot off my neck.
Okay, interesting.
She also loves film. She loves Freddie Mercury. There are things about her. Also, she is really inappropriate a lot of the time to these women. She tells these women, you better not eat. She is not. I'm not painting her as a perfect person.
Right.
I'm just wondering if there aren't complications that we're not fully seeing.
Oh, I'm sure there are. I think you're right. I would say
that also. One more thing.
Yes.
Doesn't mean you're wrong. Doesn't mean she isn't pissed.
No, but now as I'm thinking about it, I wonder if maybe, the gaslighting Amanda thing is one thing.
Yes.
Which we can talk about. But I do think that she was mad that the girls went behind her back because I'm sure in her mind, to your point, she was like, I got you this Netflix show. I pushed for this. Really? You're going to go behind my back now? And so I think that she probably was pissed. And for whatever reason, I don't know, but that maybe it is kind of because of the show, actually.
Yeah.
Because to your point, she gave them more fame. Listen, she's not the person to sign off on it, obviously. The Jones family
I don't know if she wants to be involved, though. Is why I'm like, I don't know if she was mad. Because she might be like, I don't want to go up to Charlotte and say, pay these girls more. Maybe she's like, yeah, you guys deal with it. I've given you the tools.
Well, that's also, I think, they're company women. They are they want to keep their jobs. I'm sure they're paid pretty well. They have the job of a lifetime.
I know.
You know?
Or they're also screwing them over saying you're lucky to be here.
Yeah, probably. Also.
But I don't know.
It's
just a fascinating, the show gives you so much, but also so little because they break the fourth. There's a moment where you watch the cheerleaders watching season 1 of the show and season 2, and it is maybe 3 minutes and that's it. And then they move on.
Yeah.
So they touch on the success. They don't say, hey, how did you, except for Reese.
Yeah.
They follow her.
She's like a TikTok star. She has almost 1 million followers now on Instagram. She's going to be on it. She's going to have her own show, a spinoff show. And because it's funny because you can tell when Kelly has favorites, and Reese is 1,000,000,000% a favorite. In the end of season 2, they sit her down when she's returning her costume, which, by the way, they don't get to keep the costumes. It's so crazy. They're fit to their bodies, and they don't get to keep these costumes at the end of each season.
That's crazy. Remember your place.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Reese.
So Reese sits down. She's returning her costume. Like, yes, I'm going to re-audition next year. And Kelly's just like, you are just she says something like, you're the perfect example of beauty, grace, faith, a role model, all these things. And I'm like, oh, Reese is the face of the organization, to the point where I went and checked on her Instagram. They did an appearance on Fallon, and Reese was there. I think it was Reese, Charlie, Kelly, and Jada. So I'm like, they have to be the favorites.
1,000%.
Because that's a huge appearance. That's not a random small town event in Texas.
No.
To be the ones to go on Fallon. She totally has favorites, which is why I think the gaslighting on Amanda was so problematic, because whether Kelly was mad at Amanda because of the pay raise thing or not, it's clearly Kelly was gaslighting Amanda about her. Amanda should have probably booked the F1 thing because she's a veteran, and they probably sent a rookie in her place. And she's like, really?
Also, it gets into the complications of the show. The show made decisions that who knows if Kelly and Judy were involved, but they chose to follow Kelly V. They choose to follow Charlie. They choose to follow Reese. They choose to follow Jada. They choose to follow Armani. We only see Amanda in her car crying when it gets very stressful dealing with the negotiations of this union, essentially, which she says is a second full-time job on top of a full-time job on top of a third full-time job.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on there, but the most telling thing to me that Kelly said to Reese when Reese returns her uniform and says she's going to try out again next year, she says, you didn't let the success go to your head. You're still humble.
Yes.
And being humble, because Judy might not necessarily be on the same page as Kelly. Judy says at one point, Amanda talks about the pay raise, and she's like, I want to be able to give myself to this job fully, but I can't because of my job, and these girls are struggling. And Judy says, why would you want to quit your job? It's what makes you all so impressive. Basically saying the fact that you are exerting yourself and extending yourself and overextending yourself to the point where you're getting 3 hours of sleep a night. What makes you so impressive as Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders is your sacrifice and your selflessness and basically your masochism.
To me, that also was gaslighty, though.
It was
because
that's
it's
what
like,
I mean. It's
it's like, oh, well, you just do something. You're like, what? You're more than this. It's like, okay, but you set expectations that are, we have to commit 100% of our lives to this organization, and we're getting paid $15 an hour.
Right.
Like the math ain't mathing.
That's why I say, I don't think either of the arguments we're making, I think they can go together.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
I think that Judy and Kelly can feel some type of way about it, but also Kelly wants them to be paid more, but Judy isn't quite as sure. And you see her life. Her daughter was on the team from 2008 to 2013, which they don't really talk about that much. Also, I think that when you mentioned the sorority, a lot of this, because the director and the head choreographer were Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, there's an element of hazing going on here that's like, we suffered.
Yes.
Why should you not suffer? And maybe Kelly is slightly more evolved in that way than Judy is, and saying like, you know what, let's end this. Let's pay them. Let's end this for everybody.
Right. Right.
But that doesn't mean she doesn't feel like she was cheated out of something.
Right. Which maybe she does feel that way. But related to the kind of sorority piece of it too, there's also the legacy piece, which also exists in sororities.
Does it in sorority?
Oh yeah,
like if
you definitely get a leg up. No leg up, no pun intended, with your high kick. You get a leg up to being selected for that sorority if you're a legacy, for sure. Especially if you have a mom or sister. Oh yeah, that is a huge advantage to being chosen.
Does it have to be at that school, or could it be any chapter?
Any school, but if you're from that school and that chapter specifically, oh boy, you are kind of guaranteed a spot, which comes into play. And there's a lot of conflict because there were some legacies, like we mentioned earlier, a girl named Dayton whose mom is the assistant choreography coordinator or something like that on the team.
She's Judy's number 2, basically.
She's basically Judy's number 2. And spoiler alert, Dayton doesn't make the team. She's the one who's kind of vibe, like she just doesn't have it.
Not only does Dayton not make the team, so Sherry Bramhall is the name of the assistant choreographer. And before Netflix did this series, there was a show called Making the Team on the country music television on CMT in like 2018 or 2019. Dayton is Sherry's daughter. Sherry is a very strong personality. Clearly, there's some tension between Sherry and Dayton. Dayton talks about how it can be hard to be Sherry's daughter because Sherry, everybody loves her. She was the quintessential Dallas Cowboys cheerleader when she was on the team. She also a lifer. She never left the organization. And Dayton is quieter. Dayton is more understated. And she's a beautiful dancer, but also her style of dance, they talk about girls with power they want on the team. And Dayton just dances differently.
Yeah.
Dayton got cut. She made it to training camp and she got cut in 2019.
Yeah.
On the Making the Team special on television.
Yeah.
And Sherry's like,
rough.
Judy and Kelly didn't even call me to tell me they were cutting my daughter.
Yeah.
And it kind of ruined their relationship. She still works there. Things are okay. But she clearly holds a grudge. She says, I can't imagine they would bring my daughter to training camp just to cut her again. What isn't said is just to cut her on television again.
Yeah.
And yet
they cut her again. And when she's being cut, Kelly does ask Dayton, like, do you want me to tell your mom or do you want to do it? And Dayton does say she wanted to tell her mom, which was interesting.
I also think that a part of Kelly's arc this season is she watched herself in season 1 and thought, I am being very, very hard and borderline cruel on some of these women. And I think was trying to soften her approach.
Yes, which she definitely did.
I really think so.
Yes, she definitely did.
I also think, so in season 1, there's a character, a woman on the team, Victoria.
Yeah.
Victoria Kalina. Her mom, Tina Kalina, unbelievable name.
Incredible name.
Is best friends with Kelly.
Besties.
The director. Victoria is kind of an odd woman out on the team.
She seems to be kind of isolated and she doesn't really have a lot of friendships on the team. She never is put in a leadership position. She's a really good dancer. it seems. She does a good job at her job, but she does not fit into the culture of the team very well.
She's not chosen to be a leader, even though she's been on the team for a while.
Yeah.
And she is someone whose whole life has been the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
They show her in her room in Texas.
Her room. Oh my God. First of all, twin bed. I'm like, well, girl, you're tall. Get a longer bed. I'm tall. Come on. But it's like just like Dallas Cowboys images, footballs, cheerleading stuff, like all in the room. And it's like that is her entire world. And she lives with her mom.
So
who's also that's her entire world.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you see Kelly is very hard on Victoria. Kelly's very honest about Victoria. Kelly talks about her friendship with Tina as it relates to Victoria. Kelly is so honest about this that you're watching season 1 being like, how can Tina and Kelly's friendship, they are literally best friends, how can their friendship survive this?
It's crazy.
And in season 2, we kind of find out that it didn't.
Yeah.
Victoria has left the team. She has moved to New York where she teaches classes, which I would love to take.
I looked them up. I feel like we should do that.
But Tina starts crying when she talks about Kelly. Kelly starts crying when she talks about Tina. They don't fully go into it. They don't ever outright say, hey, this show ruined our friendship.
Yeah.
Because it also gave them the platforms they have now. Like Victoria's super famous because of it. Seems like it kind of ripped apart. Like, I don't know how everybody can watch season 2. Like Sherry, whose daughter Dayton didn't make it, and Kelly. How can Sherry keep working there? And how can Kelly, like Sherry basically said Kelly was a coward.
Right.
How do you now go back to a working relationship after all of these things have been said and everybody's seen what everybody's saying about everybody behind each other's back?
I mean, I feel like that's what the show is going to turn into. Like season 3, it's going to be more like reacting to what was aired the previous season, like Housewives. You know, like it's like the same thing of like what's said on the show, what's edited in, all of that. But I do think what the straw was that broke the camel's back for Tina was in season 1 when Victoria is coming in to turn in her uniform and she seems kind of uneasy. And basically Victoria sits down and says to Kelly essentially like, I only want to come back if you see a leadership role for me on this team. And Kelly does not mince words and is essentially like, it's never going to happen. But still in that moment, Victoria does decide to put her uniform on the yes rack that she's going to re-audition. But then when it comes to the banquet, she's like, just kidding, I'm not, which was the right decision. But I'm sure that didn't help watching that back as a parent.
No. Also, it's such a fascinating lesson in, because to do Kelly's, like, Victoria probably doesn't have the leadership qualities that Kelly is looking for.
Yeah.
Dayton didn't quite have the style of dance that they wanted.
No.
So at one point she says, it's between doing my job and breaking my heart. And Judy's like, we have to do our job. And Kelly's like, at what cost?
Yeah.
And that didn't feel acted to me.
No. That definitely feels like a real feeling.
And it felt like she was thinking of Tina in that moment. Like, I lost my best friend because of this, because I did my job. Oh, but at the same time, it's like an intersection of like this pageant, cheerleading, performance, femininity, blah blah blah, and nepotism. And when you choose not to honor nepotism, it sort of made my brain explode in those moments.
Well, it's so much happening, and there's so many different angles of things being thrown at you of like these interpersonal dynamics. What does it mean to be quote unquote beautiful for the Cowboy standards? What does it mean to be like beautiful as an American woman?
Yep.
You know, it's like there's just so much happening. So much.
Okay, so to wrap all this up, let's end on the banquet.
Yes.
Because the banquet is the end of season, end of year thing.
I love the banquet.
I love the banquet so much. I
also, it feels like I don't think they bring anyone. I think it's just them.
Yeah.
In a conference, in a ballroom.
No plus ones.
It doesn't feel like there's any plus ones.
Also, real quick, I love the supportive boyfriends on the show.
Me too.
Who make them dinner and like take on the traditional role of a woman in the household because their girlfriends and wives are working for the Cowboys so hard.
Yes.
Also, then I'm kind of like, we're not seeing the whole picture here for a lot of this. Yeah. What's going on? But the banquet, just ladies, did you love an end of season school banquet, like sports banquet? Or
are you kidding?
My favorite part of
we've talked about this before of doing like an end of year like gossip awards or something, like participation, like getting a trophy or like a prize. I mean, I never got MVP, but I'm like, give me. I would always get like best team leader or like I was good, but
Personality
never
hire.
Kind of. I mean, I wasn't like not getting like the really bad part, like a participation trophy. I
Right.
get a step above, but like
Right.
I was never getting like the actual best of
No,
the
no.
athletic abilities on my volleyball team.
No, I was a team captain.
Yes,
Without being one of the best people on the team.
100% same. Yes.
I did once get an honorable mention
Oh.
for being all league, but I wasn't quite all league. So that's sort of what we're working with here.
Okay.
But at the end banquet, that's what they end on in season 1. Season 2 is where we find out that they have secured the pay increase.
Yes.
I also wonder, did Netflix know this whole time that was going to be the arc? Do you think they knew the whole time that they were, like, did someone in the organization tip them off and say, hey, we are going to raise their pay at the end of the year?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. That would have been too many moving parts to then like what prompt them. I mean, listen,
Right.
they're obviously producers on docuseries.
Just thinking
but
of, does it go
go
all the way to the top?
I mean, it might. I think it probably goes all the way to the top of the Cowboys organization, and they're like, "This is bad PR if we go through another season where we haven't given them more money."
Yes.
So
The end of your banquet, Shandi, who there were all sorts of things going on with her. She took a mental health break, but also
Yeah.
some women were really upset because she was held to a different standard because Judy loves Shandi so much.
Yes.
And like this one, Kay Deanna, who said that she was really upset. I don't even fully follow it.
no, well, they were kind
Basically,
of vague.
They were very
Yeah.
vague purposely.
Yes,
At the end of the season, Shandi shows up on crutches and
Yeah.
is like, "Oh yeah, I had my hip replaced," and
Insane.
you're like, "Sorry, what?"
look,
And that happened
what
the year
age?
before.
Yeah,
Another woman was like, "I'm not on the team anymore because I got my hip replaced in my mid-20s."
insane.
So there is an element of this that really is masochistic. That's
Yeah.
like, you are going to destroy your body to look and act a certain way and fit a mold.
Yeah,
And at the same time, you see Kelly crying, talking about how much she loves them, and you believe her, but you're also like, you are making them do these things. It is a very complex, I feel like the banquet really kind of sums up the whole thing.
yeah, and at what cost? Is it for the memories? Is it to say you're a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader? Which I do feel like a large part of it is having that piece of history in your back pocket. In the same way, when you look at Victoria's mom, Tina, like they hold on to that time forever.
Yes.
And I think a lot of that probably is because of the wear and tear they put themselves through mentally and physically to do that job, to justify the sacrifices they had to make in
That's
order
so
to do
smart.
it.
That has to be worth it.
It has to be worth it.
And also, it's a huge part of your identity.
Yeah.
You become, once you're a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, you are forever. And they have these alumni events where, 65-year-old women come back and still know the dance to Thunder, which is their iconic piece of choreography.
Right.
They just can't do it anymore because
No.
their bodies are broken.
No. It kind of reminds me of modeling, actually, because, yes, there are a lot of women who will stick it out longer than they probably should because generally you're putting yourself through a lot. You're in debt to your agency, but it's like because like there's a chance I might like be in Vogue, or there's a chance I might book the Casey Musgraves Dallas Cowboys cheerleader performance. And so then when you leave it, it is really hard to leave. Because you kind of are drawn back in by some sexy things, like, oh, you might book a big editorial in Vogue shot by Stephen Meisel or something like that. But at the same time, you're also not paid for it, or you're paid very little.
True.
So you're kind of drawn back in by these sexy things, but then you're also reminded of the terrible things, like, oh, you got to get a hip replacement.
That's so true.
So there's, I think, that push and pull, and it's hard to let go of it. And so then when they do, I think they're just kind of still stuck in the past.
I mean, it reminds me of athletes.
Yes, 100%.
Where when, I think I've said this here before, but when I wrote a profile of the former Eagles player Chris Long, I said, are you scared of CTE in any way? And he said, no, I'm way more scared of the void.
Yeah.
And I said, what is the void? And he said, it's what happens next after you retire.
100%.
We saw it in the Jason Kelsey documentary on Amazon. And I thought about that as I was watching it, but I also thought about something you said when we did our pageant episode, which was the sociology term, the labor.
Aesthetic labor.
The aesthetic labor.
Yeah.
That these women are doing.
Oh my God.
It takes an hour and a half to do your makeup. Like the amount of time that they, in addition
unpaid
time.
Yes.
In addition to physical and mental hardship that they're putting themselves through, has to be worth it for the identity of having been a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, and also for some of these people, what that in turn extends to their partners.
Yeah.
Like Reese's husband, Will, gets to be the husband of a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader forever.
Yeah.
And so it's all so fascinating. I think that obviously we have critiques about the show. I think for a sparkly Netflix show, they do a pretty decent job of showing you all of the aspects of this. Obviously, it's going to come out a little slanted on the Cowboys' point of view because they have to sign off on doing it again.
Yeah.
But I have been impressed. We've been able to read between the lines enough to have an idea of like, hey, maybe there is more going on here when it comes to the harder elements of it.
Yeah.
Because they don't not show you that.
No, yeah. I think they do a fairly good job. I would like to see a little bit more of the behind the scenes of their lives outside of dance and how they're able to juggle and juggle doing dance for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and their other jobs and their other lives. They touch on it some, but I do think that element could be interesting next season, assuming they get a next season. But I think my biggest takeaway and something I went into it definitely feeling a little judgy about, I was like, why would they do that? Like, this is like, why? Is I'm reminded of the fact that a lot of these women have been dancing since they were very little. This is kind of all they know. And so for them, to your point earlier, to be able to do this professionally is so rare, to have some sort of job as a dancer beyond just being on a college dance team, that it's like they still want to hold on to that piece of their life that was probably all consuming their entire life. They're going to dance tournament or competitions. Their parents probably spent thousands of dollars in dance lessons and all of that. That it's like, this is like a way to continue that, and probably a little bit nostalgic for them, that I am more empathetic when they like stick it out for longer than they probably should.
Yes. And it's also, I think, a way to honor their families. Like you see with Kelly's family in the beginning. She's like, you sacrificed everything for me. I'm going to keep doing this as an homage to you. It's also the thing that I love. I mean, it really, they are athletes. It's it's like, you know, the NBA player who has never known anything besides being the best player and having a life lived inside a gym. These are lives lived inside a dance studio.
Yeah.
There just aren't that many places. And the Cowboys are really the only major organization where you can get this level of fame now because of the Netflix show.
Totally.
And they're not going to do a, you know, Bengals cheerleaders Netflix show.
No, this is
it's just not the pinnacle.
No.
So there are essentially 36 jobs in the world of dance, aside from major ballet companies or the Rockettes, where you can do the thing that you've trained your whole life to do at a professional level and now get paid for it only because of what the women who came before you fought for.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Wow.
As we said, we'll be back next week with some more sports gossip nonsense, but we sure do love doing these deep dives, and we might have some more coming for you soon.
I think we might. As always, please like and subscribe, rate and review. It makes a huge difference. You can follow us on Instagram at Sports Gossip and on TikTok at Sports Gossip Show.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
We did it.
Banger of an episode, if
Banger.
I can say so myself.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.